Hello and welcome to Aging Matters. This is a show that's provided by and sponsored by the Berks County Area Agency on Aging. My name is Ann Barlet. I'm the Public Advocacy and Outreach Manager for the agency. Our show today is going to be about do's and don'ts regarding medication management and disposal for the older adult population, as well as information on gaming, some addiction concerns, and scams. And my guest today is Marcia Goodman-Hinnershitz, who is the Director of Planning for the Council on Chemical Abuse. Thank you for being here, Marcia. I appreciate your time and expertise. I know you have a lot on the subject, so thank you for being here.
And it's very important that we all have these opportunities to talk about these timely topics.
Exactly. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So I think that we're going to start right in. We're going to kind of try and break it down in a few segments because they kind of all relate to one another, and it's specifically for adults and older adults. Right. In terms of medication management, we think we know what we're doing, but we really don't sometimes, do we? We have all kinds of medications, and there's certain ways to manage them, take them, as well as disposing of medication. So I'm going to start with this medication management. Let's talk about the basics. Marcia, why don't we start with that?
Okay, and I think when we talk about the basics, we have to look at, we're talking about both over-the-counter and prescribed medications. It's anything that you put in your body, and it could also be ointments. It doesn't need to be anything that's taken internally, anything that affects your system. Okay. And so we have to be very mindful that when you add things to your system, there are going to be both positive reactions and there's also going to be possible side effects.
And to know all of those, what we're taking, why we're taking it, when to take it, and then those possible side effects, right?
Right. And when we talk about what we're taking, we have to understand that most people take more than one medication. So it's the interaction of these substances that if you take them just alone, they're going to have effects. But if you mix them together, and they can be prescribed together, there may be side effects. So we have to be very mindful of everything that we put in our bodies.
And I think with that too is there are many people out there that I know don't know the names and the purpose, and I think sometimes we just assume that the doctor put us on this. He knows what he's doing, but we do need to be aware and mindful of what we're taking. And I can't say that enough because of that potential interaction. Right. And because of the potential side effects. We want the positive side effect. If I'm taking, a pill to get rid of a headache, I want the headache to go away. Right. But the negative would be I don't want it to cause something else.
Right. And so it's very important, the first exercise to do is to write down every medication you use. And not only to write down the name of the medication, but also the dosage and how often you take it. So those can be found on each medication. The one thing that's always been troublesome for me is sometimes that information is really hard to figure out. Okay, so you need to take your time and say, okay, this is going to be my monthly exercise. I'm going to be writing it down. If something is no longer needed, I want to cross that out and the date that you stop taking it.
Okay, good. Good management of ourselves and the meds that we're taking.
Right.
I think also, even when I'm getting that new prescription or talking to the doctor, having a notepad to also make my notes at that time so that when I'm going back and making my little chart or my list, I can kind of make sure I understood that and have a comparison. Right. And if not, ultimately, I can call the doctor's office, right?
Right. But I think the other thing you need to remember is your pharmacist is your best friend.
Okay.
The pharmacists are very knowledgeable about the interactions, and they will take time to do a consultation for you. You just need to ask them that. So you just don't pick up your medication. If after you leave the doctor's office you have a question, you need to be able to say, okay, can the pharmacist help me out with this?
Good, because you don't want to try and do it yourself.
Right.
Figure out, well, I think they mean this, so I'll take it in the morning, or I'll take them all together, or I forgot tonight, so I'll take double tomorrow. Okay. Some of the things that I don't know if we want to stay on a little bit more with medications. Are there things that we want to emphasize whether it is over the counter or prescription?
I think what's important is to follow the directions clearly. For instance, there's certain medications you need to take with food or water. Some of them you don't need to. So you almost have to develop that schedule and be able to say, okay, these are what I'm taking in the morning, this is what I'm taking in the afternoon, this is what I'm taking in the evening, and not be ashamed of the fact that you need to focus on that. Okay, I think sometimes people don't want to take time.
Right.
And also to be very aware that if you skip a dose, it doesn't mean you double up the next time. That doesn't do your system any good. So even things as simple as Tylenol have really clear instructions on them, like how often you're allowed to take them, what the interactions are with the other medications. It's not a matter of, oh, I just got it over the counter, so it may be safer to take.
Yeah, it's harmless.
Yeah.
We make certain assumptions or certain rationalizations, I think. We were talking earlier also about there are certain meds that the doctor may permit and actually instruct you to perhaps cut, in a half a dosage.
Right.
And others, you can't do that. So you can't decide for yourself, I think I'll cut these to make them last a little longer, or gee, I really wasn't feeling so good, so I'll cut back.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things that happen here. First of all, people are very mindful of their pocketbook. Okay, so sometimes they really believe they can save money by cutting their dosage, or if they may be going away and they're not going to have enough, they cut it in half. They don't realize it is as prescribed, the milligrams or whatever are needed. The other thing that happens is people in the same household might be taking the same medicine, so they may believe they can share it. Okay, that's not the way, again, you're not taking them as prescribed. It's not the way it works. And the last thing is, if people are told to discontinue a medicine, they believe they should keep it for safekeeping in case they need it again.
Just in case, you never know, right?
Right. Again, I think people want to be thrifty and save money. That's not the way it works. Once that medication is no longer prescribed, it's time to dispose of it.
And I think sometimes it's also we just forget.
Oh, yeah.
And so maybe we could also do some kind of once every whatever, I don't know if you have a suggestion, to review what it is that we have in the places that we keep our medicines, to review what is there, has it expired, are we really prescribed to continue taking it, and then to dispose of it.
Right, and I always say maybe monthly is
Okay.
May seem a little much, but it helps you refresh what you need to do. Also some suggestions for how you organize your medications. If you can organize them by which ones I take in the morning, put those together, which ones I take in the evening, or put those together, and the ones I might need to take twice a day, I always put those in the center. Because I can go morning, these are the ones I take once a day, or more than once a day, and then these are the ones I take in the evening. Just a system that works for you that you can remember.
Okay, and best to take them from the actual pill bottle that the pills were prescribed, that you received them in, right?
Yeah, and they're in that amber colored bottle because light can cause the medicines to become less effective.
So we have to watch how we store them then.
Yeah, so the reason they're in those bottles, but on the other hand, once you're done using the medication, dispose of the bottles. Okay, so you don't have a lot of clutter. Because the more clutter you have, the easier it is to make a mistake.
Exactly. Good. Thank you for that suggestion. So I don't know if we want to talk about then the disposal right away, or my concern too is, while we're talking about medications, kind of the taking too much of something, it's still part of mismanagement, but where an addiction of some sort may occur, or we feel that we need to have that?
Okay, first of all, we need to understand about addiction. Each of us interacts with medicines differently, but we know there are certain medications that have the warning that they can become addictive. Okay. The one that's taken most often is the opioid drugs. Okay.
And those are typically prescribed for what types of conditions?
For pain management.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a lot of folks that are experiencing all different kinds of pain. In the past, they were prescribed more often. Now that doctors have become aware of the addictive nature of the opioids. There's a lot more meaningful, wise prescription of them. But some people wonder, well, why am I only able to get like a 5-day supply? That's because the doctor says, okay, you have pain. We want to see how you're doing over the 5 days. We're not going to give you more than you need because we know if you take them, there may be a chance you're going to become addicted, especially if your brain chemistry is wired to, and it has to do with how your brain works.
Okay.
You're more likely or more at risk to become addicted. When they were initially put out by the pharmaceutical companies that developed them, doctors were not given that information. They were given misinformation and were told that they weren't addictive when we found that that isn't the case.
Okay.
Okay, so we have to be very careful. The other thing that happens with opioids is if you misuse them, taking more than is prescribed at any one time, and you run out of your supply because you're only allowed to have a certain number, you can go through withdrawal. Okay, so there are some medical side effects of misusing opioid drugs.
Okay. Did you want to put up that, do we want to put up this one?
Yeah, I think it's important.
Now?
Yeah.
If we can have the one flyer about what we need to know.
Okay, so we know with a lot of these prescription medicines that there have been illegal drug manufacturers that actually have the stamp that they can create the drug that looks exactly like the prescription drug, and that's what this handout shows. Okay, and then they not only create the prescription drug, they also are adding other additives to them, like fentanyl, okay, which is deadly. So when you get a drug that's not from the pharmacist, that's not in the bottle as prescribed, you may be getting an illegal drug. So you have to take it from the source that it's meant to be from. Don't touch these at all, okay? And if a friend gives you, don't touch them. Unless you get them right from the pharmacist in the bottle that they were intended to be packaged, they are not safe to take.
Okay.
And you know, we see people dying all the time from fentanyl overdoses, and some of them are from fake prescriptions.
Wow. It's a shame that they have that ability to be able to make a pill or look like it or stamp it or anything else that is equivalent or looks like the one that is prescribed, because it is prescribed and to be taken a certain way. And that's a shame that that's happening out there.
And one of the things that's dangerous is these are available online to order and delivered to your home.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that the people that are manufacturing these illegally are very sophisticated. They know what they're doing. They know who to target. And they have more information about you than you probably wish to believe.
I think too, it's very natural for some people, if they were prescribed something by a doctor with a specific condition, and time has gone by and the condition kind of creeps back, it's desirable almost to be able to conveniently order something that you think, well, this is what I took before,
right? And
I can get it, you know, online and delivered to me. Which everything's being ordered. A lot is being ordered online and delivered to us these days. So it's a shame. But redirect back to your physician to really re-examine yourself too, because there could be a change in your condition that warrants a different medication, or even that med, but prescribed appropriately and filled at a pharmacy.
Exactly.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit now about now that we've had some medicines and we have always a few extra left in the bottles, or you know, finished with that, don't need it, don't need to keep them anymore, don't need to hoard it and have more stuff around. What is the best way and why of disposing medications?
Okay, so when we dispose of medications, we have to be mindful of the environment. They don't get flushed down the toilet, because then what you end up is a medication chain in your water supply. Now, granted, they will treat that at the water treatment plants, but it's a lot to be able to do that. So we don't want to pollute our environment. So they absolutely do not get flushed down the toilet. There have been, over the years, many ways of safe medication disposal that have been evolving. So I go back to the day when once a year you were able to take it out to the medical society when they had their medication take-back days. Still happening, still very good. We have tons of medication that have been disposed of that way. The other thing our district attorney's office has been very proactive is to make sure that medication disposal boxes are at all our police departments.
Okay.
Okay, so if you have quantity, you can take them in there. But sometimes people will say, well, I don't want to go into the police department. I only have a few, so maybe I'll just flush them down the toilet. That doesn't work.
Don't do that. Do take them. Take the swing by and do it. And if I do it, if I can clarify, we take them in the bottle that they came in.
Right.
Is there something we need to do with that bottle? Do we cross out? We can cross out our name or
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah.
Do we leave what it is, what that medicine was on that as a name, or they don't care?
They don't really care.
Disposed. Okay.
Now, the only place that they sort them is when they do the medication take-back days. They do sort them. They're trying to keep track of how many opioids are being disposed of.
Okay.
Okay. And just a little shock figure, I was calculating using the statistics from the district attorney's office, and there's been over 5 tons of medication that have been disposed of in the medication disposal boxes, okay?
Wow. Wow.
So that says to us how much medication people are being mindful that they don't need anymore, and that we know that a lot of times we're not going to need to take the full amount that's been prescribed to us.
And is it just in pill format?
They can put lotions in there, okay?
Okay.
The one thing I want to be able to say, and just address this, and the Council on Chemical Abuse is working on this, we know a lot of people come to us and say they have the sharps. They might be using diabetes medicine, okay? That can be disposed of, but we're working on making that easier, and more to come on that at this point.
Good, good. So what is, again, a different way? You have some things here to share with us.
Right.
If I don't swing by, the police station isn't handy in my community or whatever, what else can I do?
Okay, so we have this product called the Deterra Disposal Bag that we provide through the Council on Chemical Abuse.
Okay.
As many as you might need. You just need to go on our website, cocaburks.org, to order them. And so very easy. This is a smaller disposal bag. Only thing you need to do is open the bag and see if I can do this easily. Okay, you open it up. Okay, you take your medications, put them in here. You add warm water.
Are we filling it to a certain level? Or
We're
just a
usually
cup?
using a half a cup of warm water.
Okay.
What's in the bottom of this bag is charcoal, and charcoal is able to dissolve them.
Sizzling or something.
Are you hearing the sizzling?
Sizzling, yes.
If you touch the bottom of the bag, it's actually warm. So what was a bag of charcoal is, if you look in, and I know that's not going to show up very well on the camera, and I can just show this to you, Ann. It just is all dissolved. Okay, so you wait until the sizzling stops, the smoke stops, and it's only a little bit. It's just a little chemical reaction. You seal this up. I want to make sure it's sealed good because there's liquid in it, and just put it in your trash can.
Oh, okay.
So directions are on the back.
Okay.
So we have clear directions. The Council on Chemical Abuse also has a brochure, so we have directions in English and in Spanish. Okay, so people can clearly understand, and it's just what you need to do on a, I would say, on a monthly basis.
And I could put like a couple in that bag. Is there, I guess if I'm thinking I'm going to order some from the Council on Chemical Abuse for certain, can I?
You might need more than one bag, depending. So this bag takes about 25 pills.
Oh, okay.
We have larger bags that take more pills, and then we also have bags that if you have a loved one that's been on fentanyl patches, that if they have passed on and you want to dispose of them, we have bags that are big enough to put the fentanyl patches in. And we want to be working with our local hospices to be able to say, those are the places that people might have those.
Exactly.
Okay, that's part of, dealing with the endings. We also are working with funeral homes to make those available there too. Just so all those fentanyl patches are so important to dispose of because it's a dangerous drug in there.
Okay, well that's wonderful. So we just have to order it online, cocaberks.org, right? cocaberks.org, and we can get some of those bags.
Right.
All righty. We're going to switch gears a little bit now with about 10 minutes left that we have. The other piece that we wanted to talk about through Council on Chemical Abuse's expertise is a little bit on, I know we're all I'm going to say gaming and gambling because I'm just recently thinking about the jackpots for the Powerballs and the Mega Millions and all of those, things that I think about gambling, but also they're making it so much more convenient for us to do some gaming. People are on their phones and have those opportunities in a variety of places. So I think that's another piece that we should share some information about any kinds of concerns that we have. And I use them interchangeably, gaming and gambling. And I want you to make if there's a distinction for us and a little bit about concerns that we should have as older adults.
Okay, so we look at all different forms of gambling. Gambling is where you put something of worth expecting a return. Okay, so you're either putting money into an online account if you're doing online gaming. If you're buying lottery tickets, you're buying something that you think is of worth that you may have a chance to win. Mm-hmm. The reality is with any of these forms, the odds are so stacked against you that there's very little chance of you winning. Now, there are certain folks that can do this responsibly and they can make choices and they can put money and they can know when to say when. There's other people that have a compulsion that they're going after the win, okay, and they believe that they're going to win and they start to sacrifice their financial security by continuing to buy. And what happens is all of these gaming, especially the online, are made to elicit addictive behavior because they keep making you believe you're close to winning, so you're going to try it again.
Oh, I just needed that. Oh, I just needed that. Oh, I was so close. And then they keep
and I'll give you an example online. Candy Crush, real popular online game. Okay, they make you appear as if you're winning, but guess what? If you want to buy an extra life, just put 99 cents in. Okay, and you buy that extra life.
Which doesn't sound much.
It doesn't sound, but obviously for the people that have developed that game, they figured out, more 99 and 99 and 99 ends up to millions and millions of dollars for them. Okay, so unless you know when to say when and stop, you could end up spending a lot more money. So this is a concern for older adults that have a lot of free time.
Okay.
You're going to get bored. You don't have a lot to do with yourself. So all of a sudden you see this availability of online gaming and you see all the slot machines and all that's being advertised and you think, well, why don't I try it? And rather than you having to go to a casino, it's right in your own home.
It's convenient, isn't it? And it's handy. You put down your phone, you pick up your phone.
And the only thing you need to do is, however you're entering your payment information on that phone, you just need to click and all of a sudden that money's taken out of your account. And so you don't even keep track of how much money have I spent in doing this gaming. All of a sudden it's gone. And all of a sudden your bank balance is lower than you thought it was. Well, why? Look at the amount of time you spend gaming. Okay, and then there's the other form of gaming, which is a lot more sophisticated, that young people do, the online competitions and such that get very drawn out. And so they're looking for every way that they can because they know that people are going to become addicted to this. They know that there's a chance that they're going to, once they start playing, they're going to continue to want to play.
Wow. Yep.
And so you need to be aware of all that. The lottery tickets are another, well, obviously, and we both know from the work that you do and the work that I do, that the money is supposed to benefit older adults.
Exactly.
Okay, but there's a lot of profit being made in the lottery, so it's the same kind of thing.
And while it's helping the older adults, by overextending yourself, it's hurting perhaps you, the specific older adult, in your own well-being as well as your living opportunities that you have day to day.
And we want family members to be very much aware of how that might become addictive for an older adult who may be losing track of time, track of how much money they're spending, just to be able to be talking with them. And if it starts to look like it's crossing the boundary, that they've lost control, it's time for them to look at getting some help.
And so I was just going to ask, so what do we do?
Okay.
What's out there for us on that?
The easiest piece that's out there, the easiest to remember is there is a helpline number, 1-800-GAMBLER.
There it is on the screen.
So it's easy to remember, 1-800-GAMBLER. That's the hotline number, and fortunately in Berks County we have treatment resources that people will be referred to. Cairn Treatment Center offers gambling treatment, and we want people to feel very much like, yeah, if you need help, just like with any other kind of addiction, there's help out there for it.
And I see it's a 24-hour line, so that's good. Anytime where you're feeling that, give that 800 number a call, please do so, and stop that at that time before it gets even worse. Let's take that a step further then, if we can, for the few minutes left.
Sure.
In how gambling or gaming or whatever, also, can you share like scamming with that, as it relates to that?
Well, one of the things we have to be aware of whenever we're putting our information on an electronic device, it's being shared. There's no protection for your privacy. Okay, so there's a lot, and just like the fake pills, that you're trying to put out something that's not honest and make it look like it is, the scamming does the same thing. It puts out that, hey, you're going to have access to resources, and just put your name in, and all of a sudden they have your information. They don't keep it within themselves. The companies that get this share it with other companies because they're getting money from them. So all of a sudden you're prone to be able to have your privacy invaded and also your pocketbook.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
And so don't trust anything. One of the things I always say, if you're getting emails, don't click on any links unless you know the source of the email. So if you look, sometimes you'll find that the email may have looked like it came from your husband. Well, it didn't come from them.
Yeah,
they
really look at it.
Yeah, they're using that email address because it's easy to replicate an email address. So,
and what I know about some of the lottery, the scams is, again, just related a little bit where they've indicated you've won this, you've won these dollars, you've won this sweepstake, and all they ask is for you to identify yourself via an account number, a social security number, something like that, where they now have that information and can get more money from you by taking it out of accounts. So the scammers are excellent in being able to do all of those things to get more money out of you, and it's a shame that that's happening, but it isn't, to be smart and wise about it.
And be assertive enough to hang up a phone call, okay? Anything that looks suspicious. If you don't know who's calling you, don't talk to them, okay?
Yep.
And especially don't do anything electronically, because once that information is in there, it's out there.
Yeah.
And you can't change your social security number.
Exactly. Good, thank you, Marcia. I'm just gonna quickly wrap up and ask if there's one last bit, one sentence quick in terms of any of this, or make sure that they know if they can call Council on Chemical Abuse or the gambling hotline again.
Well, I think that the important message is hope and help is available, and that we shouldn't be ashamed of asking for support. So with the Council on Chemical Abuse, the best way to connect with us is on our website, which is www.cocaberks.org. Okay, and once you hit on our website, it connects you to all the resources you need.
Okay.
Okay, you can call us. Our phone number is 610-376-8669, and then you can be directed to what type of help you might need. So whatever way is better for you to get help.
Great, thank you, appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing this information. I know it's a lot to cover in 30 minutes, but I think it's important, at least we've touched on some things and hopefully enlighten some folks in our community about these concerns and issues. So thank you, Marcia.
Thank you for inviting me in. Look forward to another time.
Okay. And last but not least, in the last minute I have, I want to remind folks that we are offering listening sessions. The State Department, the state itself, and the Governor Shapiro has asked the area agencies on aging to offer listening sessions. So Berks County will have 7 listening sessions in the month of August and September. We invite you as consumers, providers, our stakeholders to all participate in one of these listening sessions. The focus will be on where we will be as adults and older adults, creating a master plan for the state of Pennsylvania over the next 10+ years with regards to areas of concern, since 1 in 5 will be over the age of 65 by 2030. So we're looking at transportation, housing, infrastructures, parks and recs, the isolation, all those different issues. We invite you. You can ask where they are and when they are and how to register. We do require pre-registration. Please call. You can call me or our agency at 610-478-6666. 6500. And thanks for tuning in to Aging Matters.